Welcome to Normal Extra Smart Africans. Woo. And welcome to episode 6. What are we talking about this week? This week we're going to talk about the importance of classes into your research, and also balancing class and research, because you also have to do that, which is like really it could be tough, but then also like, again, classes could be like really, like, classes could, like, there's sometimes where like classes like really just go like really align with your research, which is really cool, but we could talk about that later. But we like to start off with like talking about our wins for the week, and then even some L's. Like we got a motto, say 1 win a day, right? During your PhD, you gotta get 1 win a day and you're gonna be straight. So I guess my win of the week was, I do a lot of 3D printing in my research, and we got that working in my lab, which is pretty cool. I guess any L's I took this week, I feel like I could have wrote more this week. I could have read more papers and wrote more, but I mean, reading is not my strong suit, so it's like, it could have been better in that sense, but yeah.
I see that. It's really like ping back on your thought of like reading more, because I feel like we had like the opposite this week. So win of the week, I'm starting to reverse. Start with like loss of the week. So I actually was supposed to do some work with like a new cell line this week. I was really excited, and then I got to the lab, and like 3 minutes before we're supposed to start the experiment, we find out that the cells were contaminated. So it was like, that was on Monday, right? So like the whole plan for the whole week was surrounding these cells that we're gonna kind of work with. So it's like, okay, well, the main thing you need for your whole week is messed up. What you gonna do? So it was just kind of like this diversion turn. I was like, okay, cool. But it ended up being good because I was able to focus more on like analysis of some results I got from last week. And then I actually wrote more because I didn't have to do a lot of like cell work. So actually, it's funny because I'm actually like writing a lot more on like a draft that I thought I was going to. So, and that way, that's kind of like progress. Like, okay, cool. I'm like, paper wise, I'm getting there. Even though actual like research wise, it was kind of like a bummer, because I was so hyped for the research on Monday. Like I got to the lab like 8 a.m. like excited, and then that didn't happen. But in science, it was kind of pivot. It's like the next thing. So,
right.
Yeah, that was my week. What about you, Mike?
I think my L for the week was happened today. It was today. I tried to do some AFM stuff. Try to image these carbon nanodots. Sorry, AFM, atomic force microscopy. If you guys got questions about it, let us know. We can talk more about it later on. But
he's the AFM king.
I wouldn't say that. But yeah, I tried to image some carbon nanodots, and I just could not find them. I think I spent about 4 hours trying to get these things. I only found like 10 of them, but the win of the week is I've got a hypothesis as to why I think I couldn't find them.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'm gonna redo the experiment. If not tomorrow, then definitely on Monday. So that's the W.
Thanks.
Hypothesis as a W. It's crap.
All right. Well, I mean, nobody's taking. They don't sound like major L's, but so we can keep going. But yeah, we're gonna talk about importance of classes and how it ties into research. I just like to say, everything you do in grad school has a purpose, and it's not like undergrad where it's like, all right, you're gonna take these classes, maybe you'll use it. Every single thing you do, and make sure and I don't know, this is more for people who I feel like people who come in for a master's understand this versus like undergrad. Like, don't even look for no GPA booster. Like I don't care if you go on like Rate My Professor, right? And it's a professor that makes you do setups during class. You take that class because it's gonna be helpful, man. Like there's times where nothing's wasted. Like every single thing you do. Plus it's like, why would you come to like grad school where it's like everything's focused and then take a GPA booster? I'm not saying y'all doing it, but I'm saying if you do, don't do it. So, but it's times where like I would have read I read a paper a long time ago, and then in class I realized what this paper was talking about because I learned the basics of the paper in the class, if that makes any sense. So like these classes help you understand papers better and like really help you understand your research better. So don't take any classes lightly, even if it's like I'm not gonna lie, some of these professors like some of these classes are hard, but like
Mad hard.
it's really weird because like a class would be super hard, but then you'll still like pass. I think it's just like more like an effort thing. I don't know, man.
I mean, there are a lot of sides to that, right? But well, the side I wanted to go in addition to what you were talking about initially about nothing being wasted. You know, it's seeing it from this perspective, right? It's like I might want to learn how to use an SEM, right? Which is like scanning electron microscope, which is like a, you know, depending on where you go to or which facility, it could be between like a $300 to like a $1.2 million machine, right? You can like learn how to use that and find someone to train with, and then learn how to use an AFM, which, you know, like he just talked about like that atomic force microscopy, right? And that will take a couple of months, a week to kind of learn this machine and learn how to do them properly, right? Compared to taking a microscopy core class, right? And then I get to learn about 6 or 7 different microscopy techniques and in depth into 3 or 5 that I wanted to learn, right? And then now, and I'm going to a lesson like, and then I get to actually, okay, do you want to learn SEM? Well, I took a class on it, so I'm not like a professional in SEM, but I have a good base on it before I go to the next thing. So it's like I found one thing I really enjoyed about like grad school was that I could take classes targeted towards experiments and techniques that I wanted to learn or use like later on. But I took like the microscopy class, and then when I got to learn these machines, I was actually from that class alone, I was allowed to use all the machines from the jump without even having to do like training for them. And then learn the other machines were a lot easier just because the class kind of tailored towards it. And like you know that, okay, if I'm doing research and it has to do with like as you said, like microtubes, or like your research with 3D printing, and you take an advanced class on microfabrication, right? Like it ties in perfectly into what you're doing. Yeah. So I feel like you can actually like target and be like a sniper with your classes to pick them for the kind of research and techniques that you wanted to do. So in that way, I can see how like, you know, classes and your research can definitely align. Sorry, what were you gonna say? Something?
I wasn't gonna say.
You gonna say okay, but I would say the other side to that was like I think in my second year of PhD, I definitely took like a class that was like project management, something in the lane of that, right? That it was like a ALU class, like a master's PhD level, and if you could take that class, right? And she made like the class so bloody irritating that like I'm taking like standard high level like 800 level classes, and they're all like not as hard as this one project. Like people were in the class. There was a postdoc who already had a PhD, and they're sweating like, what is going on? Why is she making this class just extremely difficult? Like Harvard had to get from the dean to like let her like stop on like what she's doing to make, because sometimes class like that be like, okay, I'm not even, what's this class doing to my major? It had almost had nothing to do, I said nothing, but it had very little to do with what I was doing in my major. And I'm just like, I've already taken some project management stuff before. This was just for credits, and you're making this class like hell, you know? So those classes where I'm just like, I don't need to take this class for my major. Let's just like replace it with something else. But I can definitely see that how sometimes, you know, classes can definitely be tired. That was just a random off example. Not saying it happens all the time, but I'm saying like there are definitely some classes that we take that are just like, this has. I
definitely feel like I wouldn't say like non-STEM classes exactly, but like classes that like, because for me and Mike, we take a lot of classes at JSNN, so I feel like they kind of understand what we're doing. But I'm trying to get like a STEM entrepreneurship certificate, because I'm trying to get like patents and like eventually like do some entrepreneur stuff. And I feel like the 2 classes that were in the business school were the hardest things I took it last semester. It was the hardest things I ever taken, because it's like usually when we take our classes, like it's always like, I think they understand we're also doing research, so they don't make it like really like work intensive. But these classes was like something to do every week, like chapters of reading every week, and I'm just like, bro,
you had to do that and then do my research, and then
I remember my advisor was coming up, was like, hey, do you have an update on this? I was like, I gotta get it to you later, man, because like, Coursework, bro, Coursework. Yo, they had me like they had me in the blender last week, so it's like it was really hard balancing. I mean, this semester is just like mostly like nano engineering courses mostly, so it's like it's not too bad. But like, man, that was I respect MBA students. Y'all got some work. Y'all doing some work, man.
They're killing it. Killing it. Awesome. So kind of like shot thing. But I feel like we're trying to be nice, but if I want to like just rip off the band-aid, right, and then just serve it to y'all how it is. Your first 2 years of PhD, like class-wise, is gonna be insane. Like, there's no other way to kind of put it. Like, you're gonna be taking at least 4 to 5 classes every semester. Most likely, you're gonna teach something. Right, for most major universities, not like some like your GSM people.
Oh no, I was on the 4 to 5 classes. I was like, dang, what?
45? No, because if you want to finish your coursework in your first 2 years of PhD and then do research for your other years, if you map it out, most universities take about 30 to 35 like, courses for your PhD. That to kind of clear that out, unless you're taking heavy classes in the summer, you probably take 4 to 5 classes a semester. And then you're going to be teaching something, at least 1 or 2, TA classes, if that's your route, right? And you're also going to be working in the lab.
Right.
So literally, even like our lab this semester, we hired about 5 or 6 graduate students. And they're all just like, hey, I thought it was kind of going to be a little bit of, work. And like, they're all expected to do 40 hours in the lab, but they're all teaching 3 classes each. And, they're taking about 16 credit hours, 16 credit hours, which is about 45 classes. So that's how my first year and a half, where 2 years was. And I feel like a lot of graduates is kind of like that. It's a lot of like intense, like you're working, you're teaching, you're doing research, you're reading stuff you've never done before, you're reporting to a PI, to a TA, and it's kind of madness. But I feel like those are like 2 months that kind of forms a lot of the base or the grit of what you need to be a PhD student. Because when you get now you're at the point where you're reading articles every single day and analyzing stuff and being in the lab, an experiment doesn't work, and we just talk about how it didn't work and we pivot to the next one. Like you can be in the lab for an hour, 2 hours in a day, do effective work. You can also be in the lab for 10, 12 hours in a day, It's still research, and I feel like all that craziness of your first 2 years helps you kind of build a lot of grit and things towards the next part. Everybody experiences those 2 years, but I feel like the hardest time class-wise versus research time is usually your beginning years in your PhD program, at least from my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think A&T is pretty intensive with the coursework as far as graduate schools,
right,
compared to other universities. Because I've conversed with other doctoral students and stuff at different universities, and they had a relatively light course load.
Yeah.
Which,
4 to 5. I don't
seems
know.
kind of nice.
Is it like, I feel like it's main campus versus like us. Unless we took no, actually every time I talk to you, like you were taking a lot of classes. So it's weird because like for now, because like a lot of my master's credits kind of transferred.
Right.
So but like every time I talk to you, like during your first 3 years, you were always like, yeah, I'm taking like 4 courses right now.
Never 4.
Never 4. 3. Usually 3,
one
right?
time? Yeah, 3.
Usually 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Y'all taking 4? And teaching?
4, yeah.
Yo, main
man.
campus people got like a whole different experience. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But y'all main campus, so that's a trade off.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like on an island somewhere, to be honest.
Yeah, but y'all on this like rich, expensive $1 million island.
Yo, high key though.
That's some kids from campus. So, but yeah, I mean, and it's crazy. I think it also depends on the institute, right? And I feel like I have some friends in Penn, and like they're taking classes that kind of closely relate to like the major and main theme. But I think I think one of the main things is that even with research, like it kind of builds up. I know, of course, the initial stages are very important, but like your last 2-3 years of research are like kind of your intensive ones, where you're like trying to like get publications out, trying to like present, trying to finish up. So that's usually not the time you would want to do that and then take an annoying, class that giving you workload every week, you feel me? So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people try to get like their workload done initially. Like, if you're going from undergrad to PhD, you're taking a lot more credits, right? Like maybe like 60, 50 credits, right? If you're taking from master's to PhD, it's a lot less. But I think that's one of the reasons why people try to like get all the work done, during that time. And as you said, most of the time we are here in the summer, so I think like if people wanted to have, you know, if you want to have a summer, you can actually take maybe like 3 classes, move your classes in the summer, but taking classes that you know will either help directly your major, right? Or that are like aligned with closely what you do. Because I found out like classes are low key, like a clutch to your research. Because there's some things that like I had questions about in my personal research, right?
Yeah.
And I'm doing a class on like an NMR, right? Which I actually had the class on NMR with like Dr. Wong one time. Shout out to Dr. Wong, you know, he's in Florida right now, but he was at A&T, you know, Aggie all the way down through and through. But I was taking a class with Dr. Wong, right? And he's talking about, and I had this weird question about NMR because I was like, yeah, what if you put this where this chart? I don't know how this, and I'm like, I basically answered the question in class, right? But it had to do with my personal research, right? Now I'm working on a publication using some of the data from that one thing I asked them about in class, you know, for my personal research, and it was like a class thing. So,
NMR is like elemental analysis, right?
yes, it's like
Okay, cool.
nuclear resonance.
Okay.
So metabolite analysis.
Metabolite analysis. Okay. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean the building where you're at every single day, you have a huge, you know.
So I didn't know we had that machine. I didn't know we had. I know we have ramen. I know we have SEM, TM, XR. No, not XRD. Do we have
I think
XRD?
Yeah.
I think we just recently got it
We just got
installed.
XRD. Yeah.
XPS too.
Y'all gotta,
Wow, man.
y'all gotta kind of articulate these acronyms though.
Yo, right. I don't know what. Well, you said scanning electron microscopy. It's just like
SEM.
XRD. I don't know what that is.
Google. Let's Google it.
I believe it's X-ray diffraction.
X-ray diffraction. See, he knows it.
Okay.
X-ray diffraction. You said XDS? No, you didn't say XDS.
XPS.
XPS.
I think it's X-ray photo electron spectroscopy.
Hey, okay, let's
knows
go.
it. Yeah.
See what on the roll now. What's the one?
Human dictionary, but
then TM. What TM
TM
mean?
transmission electron microscopy. I know this. I do this.
Okay, then what does NMR? Full meaning of NMR. That's for it.
Nucleic. I don't even know, bro. Nuclear. Magnetic resonance. Spectroscopy, or just no spectroscopy at the end?
I mean, you can add NMR spectroscopy.
Okay.
So if y'all didn't know any of these things, or you don't know what these things are, just mention any of these names around your friends or science friends. They're all things that you know what you're talking about. Like,
okay, so
like, wow, you know.
So you're taking so now you gotta balance them, right? So you have to take these two things at the same time, right? Because like during your first 2 years, it's not like you're not gonna do research, right?
Exactly.
I mean, last 2 years you're gonna really focus on, but I think the first 2 years really, it's like first 2 years it really sets the tone for your research. Like I know first 2 years you're gonna be mostly like, it's funny. I went to a lecture today and they were like, okay, describe a PhD student. Describe a PhD. Like describe a PhD. What is it? And I was like, my answer was being a project manager and an employee at the same time. Literally at the same time. So like a lot of the projects you're doing, yeah, your advisor can help you like could guide you, but it's like a lot of the stuff you're gonna be like asking for the orders yourself. Like I'm trying to build like a extruder. I have to figure out what parts to order. Like nobody's gonna do that for you. Like extruder, what filaments you need. Like you have to do all that. No one's gonna do that for you. So you have to really like manage the project and then do the work at the same time, which is like.
Real quick, G, can you briefly explain what an extruder is?
In a second. And that's why people lose their minds, man. doing this. Extruder pretty much, so I don't know if you've seen like 3D printers, the filament. So people use an extruder like that's 1.75 millimeters in diameter. They pretty much melts a whole bunch of plastics together, and then this extruder pretty much prints out this filament in like a nice coil for you to like use for 3D printing. So because I'm trying to work with 40 materials, I'm trying to make my own extruder so I can make these smart materials, add whatever additives to make it do cool stuff myself. And apparently we used to have one a long time ago, but no one knows where it is. Like, that's what I said. I mentioned last podcast that sometimes you're going to be continuing projects, and it's like, imagine like there was some guy 10 years ago, right? And most like your advisor probably does not know what he did with that stuff, because your advisor probably even forgot that was a project. But he's like, oh yeah, some guy did that one time, right? So now you have to like, he's gonna be like, oh well, the parts are somewhere in the lab, because he hasn't seen this in 10 years. So like, you're gonna have to piece by piece figure out what this guy did 10 years ago, and
which is why you should have good lab notebooks. Sorry, keep going.
Right. So maybe you could, I don't know. I haven't, maybe I can find the guy and email him and ask him. But like, you're going to pick up on projects and nobody's going to know what the status is, because, you know, projects come and go in grad school, but it's part of the experience. And that's why people lose their minds.
That's why people lose. Nah, see, that's the crazy part, because I have like a project I'm working on now, because I you know, most times you're not working on one project, right? So I have like another project from a student who was literally in the lab 12 years ago, right? Tried to email this person, haven't gotten through to them, but all I have from their project, I opened like the computer, which is also about 20 something years old. This is crazy. Like ANT has like, we have brand new computers and 23-year computers side by side, which is kind of wild. But we have those computers, right? And all I can see is like they're like files and like theses like right up and like some of the documents in there. So I was like, okay, maybe I can like take some of what this person did, because I was like, I'll take this research and kind of like add it to you. So I have 4 that I'm working on by myself, and this one new one from a student from 12 years ago. And I was like, I can't get in touch with this person for some weird reason, right? But the way like they wrote their notebook, like, bro, I know some people are like take their time on something, but it felt like this person will finish their whole day and then you'll just lock yourself in a room and be like, okay, now let me write to my notebook for the next 4 hours, 1 line per minute. Like, it was extremely like explicit and like intricate with each of the steps, and I was just like, this is kind of like, I don't know this person, but I've done like 4 or 5 of the experiments back to back, like they were there beside me, kind of where we're working with it. But that's very rare, right? Because most of the time you look at like old notebooks, like 4 or 5 of those in my lab before, no one knew what to do with them, because no one could understand like half of the stuff that was there. Like, it was not happening to pass and graduate, but then also we know that like science changes and evolves over time. So what was like okay to present or like publish, what was the minimum to publish 10 years, 15 years ago is not the minimum now.
Oh no.
So it's like you're taking this person's research or whatever that they've kind of done, and you're not just doing that, you're adding a lot more to it and reforging a lot of things that kind of been there instant and making it a little bit new. So it's also like a whole new set of work too. So if it's done right, you can make your work easier, but if it's not, it's low key like a whole new set of like, in a whole new lane for like extra.
I don't think people, well, especially a lot of older professors, don't understand how competitive it is. Actually, maybe they do because they're on the papers themselves. But like, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, man. So you gotta like, I feel like you gotta stand out to like publish well. So I don't think it's definitely a lot more competitive than like, because you ever seen like a staple paper, like say you're doing like just a paper like. Everyone in your discipline understands, like you have to read this paper in order to like understand anything. Have you ever seen them? They're like 2 pages. Those papers are like 2 pages, really simple work, right? So it's like, but now like you have to be like elaborate nowadays. I'm not saying like, I'm not even complaining. I'm not complaining, bro. But I'm just saying.
You're just saying.
I'm just saying we gotta be nice. We gotta be nice with this. You know?
We do. we honestly do. Because times are changing. Like I just saying, a lot of those core papers, not gonna lie, they will have what? 4 images. Like they'll have 1 picture,
4 images,
which is like one of them is drawn. Like it's like a
3 sets of data.
3 sets of data with like 1 assay. And like 1 graph, that's it.
Right. Everybody's like, whoa.
Everybody's like, what?
But then, to be fair, technology is just like, they were working with like the technology back then. It's just like now it's like compute power and like, so you know what? Again, I'll give them some grace, but I'm just saying maybe it's not a fair comparison, but we do gotta be nice though, man.
Kinda,
You gotta be nice.
I agree. Which is why we have to be excellent. In what we're gonna do. We can't just be we're engineers and we're scientists and we're black. We're scientists and we're smart. We're scientists and we're the first one in the family. We're scientists and we're like no, you have to be all these things and be the best and be a little bit better. Like because what we know that is a lot of people are not even doing the bare minimum. So we need to do the bare minimum and a little bit more. Like we have to consider that just because of how it is in this part. Want to publish well and do your work well because you don't want to just be out. You want to just be out properly.
Right.
So I think that's one of the main
apparently
things.
back in the 90s before like computers, the way they did computation was like they had punch cards. And they had to it was called Fortran. You know something about Fortran? A little bit?
Not deep.
Not deep.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with the punch cards.
The punch cards, that's crazy. So, I mean, we just have a lot. I think we have a lot more. I mean, we have a lot more toys at our disposal. So it's like we have to get a lot more creative with like publishing and stuff. So it is exciting. But it's a lot of work. So now that I put that in perspective, it's like, all right, well, we got a lot more weapons. We got a lot more tools and weapons. So it's like
a lot more in our arsenal.
A lot more in our arsenal than those guys. So it's like, all right, I'll give them. I'll chill on the 2-page papers. I'll chill on them. They helpful.
Double spaced.
So I want to circle back to what you guys were talking about as far as you guys were saying everything matters, right? And so I guess another way of articulating it, I know for me is, do not waste your time in grad school, right? And again, because normally you get your PhD, depending on what you want to do. If you want to go to the private sector, right? You can go work in a biotech in the private industry, or sometimes you can go do a postdoc. Postdoc is a position that you're pretty much you're a professional scientist, but you're almost a staff scientist in the academic lab, right? Or in the industry lab and things like that. So those postdocs positions, it's a job, right? You get interviewed. They ask you, what was your publications, what's your skills and whatnot. They're not going to care about your GPA, right?
Yeah.
No one's asking about the GPA. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I think all graduate programs, doctoral programs, even master's programs require you to at least have a 3.0.
At least.
Right? You have to have at least a 3.0 to stay in the program. So if it came down to it where you got to choose between studying for an exam or getting in the lab and doing the stuff and developing the skills you want to do, and you're sitting at a B+, bro, go to the lab.
Go to the lab?
Go to the lab.
Go to the lab.
Don't stress too much about, and again,
exactly.
I think another thing, you want to be attentive of is when you're scouting graduate programs to begin with, make sure that program, we talked about this in a past podcast, we talk about make sure there's a professor at the program who's doing the research you want to do.
Yeah.
In conjunction, right, with this episode, scout out the classes, because you have your core classes, right? And then you also got your electives.
Yeah.
Which they leave you to choose, right? Choose the electives that, like you guys are saying, that you're going to learn the knowledge base to apply in lab, right? Don't be a bioengineer taking theoretical physics. Right. Unless you're some biophysics person, you know what I'm saying?
From Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Don't.
Biophysics?
He's a physicist, right?
Okay. Joe Sheldon? Yeah, I think he's a theoretical.
Exactly, yeah. Like, unless you want to go work with Sheldon, I'm making like the next machine. Like,
and then if that's the case, if you want to work with Sheldon and you're in a bioengineering PhD, you probably should have chose a different graduate program,
right?
So, but yeah, I think that's the main thing I wanted to say. Just be mindful, and consult with your advisor.
I agree.
Consult with your advisor as far as is this class solid enough to take.
It's funny. It's funny because I was talking about how I was taking those MBA classes. Like, I don't think my advisor knew I was taking those classes till towards the end of the semester. He's like, "Why are you taking those classes?"
At the same time, your advisors is your education.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So
it's like,
consult with them doesn't mean you have to do exactly what they think.
right. So
Make your degree work.
They
for you.
are that word, advisors. Like
Right.
advisors.
He's like, well, okay.
Well, he kind of funny like that, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, he's like my advisor is really funny. Like he's like probably the busiest guy ever. Like, and then everybody in my lab doesn't understand that we're in each other's lab until we see one of us go into his office. Like, yo, you're in this lab too. It's funny because like he's so busy where it's like when you go talk to him, it's just like he's just like keep it short and sweet, right? So it's like you go up to him when you have something important. Like you go up to some other people are like, oh hey, how you doing? Like every week. So again, whatever, I like it because I get a lot of autonomy. Like the extruder and like whatever idea I have, like pretty much wherever I have, right? If there's money, I could do it. So, but yeah, other people need a little bit more structure. But like I love it. Yeah. So.
How do you feel about because I'm trying to last one before we go into main part? How do you feel about like the classes to make up for stuff that are weird? For example, like an example, like one time, like I was in my master's, right, and I realized that I wasn't going to be able to, because I used to plan out a lot. Cause I think like planning out using your actual planner on your schedule is very essential. Because I plan on my phone and sometimes it'd be going crazy, it don't be working. But like actually like planning out, right, be important. And I knew that I wasn't going to plan out a lot of workout times during the semester. So there was a 300 level workout class. Like those sports education class. When you read the description, they're basically exercising every class. And I took that class like my master's, and like it counted like basically elective. But every day I get to the class in like shorts and t-shirts. I'm working out. We're doing like weightlifting. Like it was basically like a workout, like a gym session. It was a class.
You silly.
And like, I knew that I wasn't gonna have time to work out in the middle of my research. So I'm like, I'll leave the lab. Yeah, I'm going to class. Okay, see, I have my lab coat on. Get the class, take out the lab coat, go to the locker room, change to like shorts. I'm pushing weight, doing like a whole workout, like gym thing. Shower, go back to the lab. Like, oh, okay, cool. But it's an actual class. I'm getting credit for working out in between. It's like a calm for me because I work out in between.
I say honestly, I would say don't do that.
It was great. I did. I would recommend.
Yeah.
Strongly 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Why not? Why would you not do that?
Well, I mean, I guess the master's is a little bit different, but did it help your research?
Yes. Because like imagine sometimes you be in the lab like stressed, bro. Like we understand that we accumulate stress and think piles up. I think it can be very annoying. Sometimes you do that to escape. I'm usually every time weekends I can break, but honestly, sometimes my advisor like annoyed me this one day and it was just very irritating. And the experiment something like blew up and I was like, okay, cool. And I got to the gym and I was like, oh, today we're doing like punching because we're like because they do different kind of workouts every single week. It was like a boxing class this week. Bro, what I tell you that I looked at that bag and
this
poured out.
Took a graduate level PE class.
Yeah, bro, exactly. Poured out all of my frustration on that bag. Yes. Like, you know him. And I went to the lab feeling all refreshed. I felt like, whoo. So I walked in. I was like, everyone's like, are you okay? I'm like, it's fine. Experiment didn't work out. That's okay. Let's do it again. So, I let out all my rage and stress. So, see. It worked for me. It doesn't matter everybody's cup of tea, but that's my big cup of tea. Hello.
Different.
So then I got a question for y'all then, because we're talking about being intention, have an intention with the classes you're taking to help augment your research.
Yeah.
What class or classes did y'all take that are most amenable for the research y'all doing right now?
Man. It was a MEMS class, which is microelectronic machines. So like making pretty much electronics like chips. Also, we went into like microfluidics. That class was essential, like making like pretty much electronics, how mask works, how like material deposition works, how etching works. Yeah, we took that class together on main campus.
Yep.
That was a great class. I took a polymers class that was really great. Pretty much all my core classes were good, like intro to synthetic biology, advanced. I think we took an advanced material. Pretty much, like every class really helped me. Even some of my MBA classes, like about intellectual property, patents, project management. So everything I've taken in my master's, both my master's and my PhD has been like really essential to my research, because like eventually, like we're pretty much like employed by a university to create things, right? And knowing intellectual property is very important. And also like that project management class, it's similar to project management. Like that's understand how to manage your projects.
Exactly.
And if you're going to go to postdoc, understand how to like manage like
a lab
employees too. So it's like if you want to go into like academia, which is like I think 0.45% of people become professors. So, but understanding that. But I don't know if it's like 0.45 have intentions of becoming professors, or like 0.545 people will actually pursue it. I don't know. But we can talk about that later.
Look, bro, you threw a number out there, 0.45%.
I have 3,000
we
survey.
We scientists here, bro.
Right,
cite your sources.
Cite your sources. They surveyed 3,000 people. I believe 0.45% of them had intentions of going into academia.
Okay. Journal name or survey name?
I don't have any of that. It was just in a presentation. So don't take my word for it until I get those sources, because we scientists.
What about you, Ori? What's what class?
What classes?
Your classes hope.
Well, I would say my classes in a bit, but it's funny because I wanted to kind of go over what Gerald just said about like the number of people who are in academia that end up going into teaching. And it's funny because I'm not going to say where it's like cool, but I was in like a TA meeting with like the head of my department, speaking to the TAs. And I don't even know about like for chemistry, because I don't know, for this year, chemistry has like a little over 40 classes, and like 32 of them are taught by TAs. Right? That's a lot. That's most of the classes, right? So he's in the meeting with everybody trying to give like instruction about being TA for the semester, right? Looks at everybody and he's like, most of you will end up becoming professors anyway, so blah, 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 in the middle of his speech. And I sat down there and I looked around, and there are like 17 of us in the room, and I'm like, what do you mean most of us will become? I was like, I might teach on the side along with what I want to do, because I love teaching, I love environment knowledge, but it's like, my goal is not, I'm not going to school to be a professor. You see, but the way you said it was just like, most of you will be college professors anyway. Like, it's kind of like an expected thing. So there's also that kind of view that, okay, like deans or like people in academia kind of see, like people who are like TAs, like graduate students, do they see most of them come back, as like, kind of thing is that like in the industry kind of fall to it. So. There's that aside, I'm not kind of fully weird in. But kind of going back to the core classes, as he said, most of the classes, I'm not going to be the same drum and be like, all my classes did, kind of help. But I say like particular core classes that I think, helped directly. I took like bioinformatics course at the beginning of my PhD that kind of talks about how you could look at physiological systems in like the human body. And hey, if you don't have an active human body to play around with, you don't have someone just caught up in their chest and play around with their heart and their lungs and stuff like that, you can make a computational model on the computer and kind of like relate that closely to what you're doing. And I was like, okay, it's not exactly a human body, but it's kind of close. And it's funny because that was one of the key things a lot of research we're doing now on toxicology and screening. How will this affect somebody in 10 years, 20 years, right? You do like a model of that, and like that I could directly, like I took that class, and like the next semester I could directly use it for a project that I presented on in like at a conference. I think that was like really good. And then I took a class on microfabrication core, like a whole microfabrication core class at A&T that I ended up, doing like an industry for that class at W Firm. Shout out, won't just round pick for W Firm, but like, they have a whole part, like a whole core facility in their main campus building just for microfabrication. Like one room just for inkjet printing, just for 3D printing, like a whole area just for that. So when we ended up trying to use that for our project, it was so easier to transition to it. And like in one semester, we're printing 4, 5, 6 things per week. Going for and learning this in the class before. So I think that was also a really, you know, high level, you know, class learning experience, direct translation, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to go into industry. We'll talk about like another part, you know, like later on. But we talked about how, like, you know, one of the reasons why, like, being able to like see an idea or think of something and then people can write about it. This is what it could possibly be. Rather than see an idea, think of what it could be, and then you go to the lab and like you make it, and you're actually seeing the physical results of what you do. I love the translational part of our research. So I love how like some of the classes will literally help you, because it's one thing to be like, okay, this is how you make an egg. You know, this is an amazing egg, right? That can be made. This is a great way to raise hens, right? And there can be 2 separate videos. And like if one video is like, yeah, this is how to raise a hen, and then when they are now, this is how you hatch the egg, and this is when you get the egg, you know, this is how you cook it, and this is how you make it. There's some videos could combine all 3, but most of the time it's like one video on Gordon Ramsay, how to make this 5-star, you know, egg dish, and one video on like, you know, Patterson or like Sedemar talking about, hey, this is how to be the best farm, the best hen farm. I feel like a lot of times in science we either like making the best farm or making the best eggs. And a lot of times, so I just want to like raise an egg, raise a hen, get the egg, take care of it, like cook it, and then make the whole process, actual translation from egg to gourmet dish, you know, the whole transition. I feel like sometimes like those classes help me take ideas from idea to actual implementation. The whole translation part, yeah.
And then I guess one question for each of you, because so Ori, you talked about bioinformatics, right? And so I think a question I'd have for you is, can you give us just a short rundown or just reiterate again what bioinformatics is / computational biology? And then G, you said synthetic biology, but I don't know if we've defined it here. So after Ore, could you define synthetic biology? And then maybe could you guys kind of elaborate on how those two help each other?
Bioinformatics and biology. I don't know enough about bioinformatics, but I mean, I technically have a synthetic biology concentration, but like, okay. So you go first.
Yeah, wow, just to the ball. You go hit.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead.
No, it's fine. I feel like some people, if you are concentrated in computational biology, you know, do not kill me. Don't get mad at me because it's gonna kind of like go on someone's head. You know, I'm a biomedical engineer. Okay, so that was like my main part, right? But from what I learned about it, right? It's still fully on the digital translation of what we see in like our physical body system, right? Kind of works like, for example, like your heart pumps blood, right? And that blood gets like, so and then in the blood that gets pumped from your heart gets pumped to different parts of your body, right? To different like tubes and valves, right? And it goes from one atrium, right side, left side atriums, and those actually take in or take out, right? Oxygen or carbon dioxide based on different parts of your heart, right? And we know that based on like what we've physically seen, like physiological, like extreme different scans of the human body, right? But if we want to model that on a computational way, okay, we know that blood is flowing in and out of a body. That's an inlet, there's an outlet, right? There's a pressure that particular blood is being pumped in a particular part of the heart, right? We can calculate the amount of that pressure, right? We can have a system that's kind of not exactly what the real body is, but would mimic or do something similar to what that person does, right? Which is great because now if we want to make some changes or adaptations, or let's say that I'm making like a heart valve, right? That's why I want it to pump like a heart, right? I already know based on this particular model, if my heart valve doesn't like go to, let's just run a random example, maybe like 50 beats per minute, right? Or 30 particular beats in my model, it probably wouldn't work in like a full on like actual model, because it's like I know a human heart will beat at this particular time per minute, right? You can make a good or strong prediction, make correction to that prediction, and then that gives you either direct information on what it would be in a real life system, or it gives you data on how you'll be able to like make a device or do some kind of corrections to something that could affect, you know, that system, right? Anyway, so that's why I kind of think computational biology, or from what I kind of did, which is, so transition to that now is that we're trying to do some like an analysis of these different metabolites, and we have an idea of what these cells would do, right, in these particular systems. But we will put them on this like conditional system, right, and run the analysis of them, and then see, okay, this is how it looks on the condition. These are these graphs that it looks like this could work, potentially work. This one will not work, and then we do the physical experiment, and then if most times if it does have a good result, then we can now like vary them side by side, which then makes your result a lot more concrete, like 2 times stronger, because you have a physical part and you have a conditional part that you kind of like combine together for that. Yeah.
Okay.
So how would that kind of like tie with your systems?
So I think in order to define synthetic biology, I have to also first define the difference between a scientist and an engineer. So a scientist is someone who observes and wants to understand why something does the way what it does, right? How something works, why it does, what it does. The engineer understands how something works and it takes this thing and applies it to some specific application. So synthetic biology, you are using fabricating biological systems, so everybody knows what DNA is, everybody knows what enzyme is, right? You are deliberately using these things like making DNA, making enzymes for a specific application. For instance, I used to be part of a lab that is using DNA to store computational information. So they understand how DNA works. They don't care, well, I don't want to say they don't care how or why DNA is working. They understand how it works, and they're just using this DNA for a specific application, which is where the engineering comes in. So synthetic biology is synthesizing these biological systems to use for a specific application.
So like synthesizing man-made versions of these biological systems, right?
Right. So man-made versions of it are like edited or like altered. So how does it go into computational biology? I did a little bit of computational biology, but I think using computational biology is more like it helps you understand the theory so you could better set up your kind of like biological system. Because I remember, and I don't know which lecture I was in, but he mentioned Copazi, which is like pretty much a way to model biological systems. So it's like if I want to know maybe how fast, I don't know, like enzymes or something are working in like the liver or something like that, you could do a few experiments, get like some data, put it into the system so it can extrapolate. So like once you put it into the system, then you could kind of predict or like make a model to predict, okay, well, if I if I increase, this, how do I say it? It's like a lever, increase this enzyme reaction, how will it affect my system? So that's where computational biology comes in. It's kind of like, it ties into, synthetic biology. I think computational biology is cool because synthetic biology, you need synthetic biology because you need to, do these experiments. And I think it ties into computational biology because once you have the data, put in computational biology, you could better predict, all right, how your system is going to act if you make certain changes to it.
Exactly.
So that's the best way I could describe it. What do you think, Mike? I need your stamp.
What you need my stamp for?
I don't know, bro. Because it seems like you know what it is.
Oh, no, I just wanted y'all's opinions, man. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was curious. Ain't no right or wrong answer.
I agree. I definitely. Another part that I love about science, how different things can definitely tie into each other and like collate. And I'm pretty sure like another part we're going to talk about like the collaborations in the science field, how like a scientist like a sales person, and like an ice cream shop owner have all like can tie together to make like an amazing just like invention or just like scientific world thing in general.
I mean,
yeah,
we talked a lot about a lot of science right now. So, but I mean, as PhD students, it is easy to like kind of be in our own little world and bubble because it's just like, I mean, we read probably tons of papers each week. We can't read any, well, I mean, it's hard to read other stuff, but we do keep track of news and stuff like that. So I think one thing we wanted to talk about was like the how do you pronounce it? SAG, the strikes, Hollywood strikes. SAG-AFTRA.
I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I just noticed. I think I wouldn't say that I noticed it after some of my productions were like halted, like because I love Abbott Elementary, but I think it's being affected by the strikes because like I think pretty much the main person is like, Quinta. She's not crossing the picket line or whatever, or I think crossing the picket line means like you're not like breaking the strike or like you're not going against the strike. That's what I understand crossing the picket line is. But yeah, I think I mean personally, me, it's real simple, man. Like these people make a lot of money and people try and get paid. Like it's pretty simple to me. Maybe it's complicated to other people, but it's pretty simple to me. Just pay the people. It's really funny because like I think it's like all right, the main movie people. It's not even like okay, it's the main movie people. It's not even too much about them. Like it's not like about like the Leonardo DiCaprio's are like that, but it's more about like the stage crews. Like that's really who's being affected. Stage crew people, like the backup people. So I definitely support. I don't really watch TV like, and I mean soccer's not being affected, so it's like I mean, not that it should matter that my favorite shows are on for me to like go against the strike, but it's like
it's sometimes
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I can wait till they get some justice, bro.
I agree. Justice for Hollywood, actual Hollywood, because people who make Hollywood work. Because without all these people that are going on strike, they wouldn't. They're definitely really hard, situation. Kind of seeing both sides, and it's really like as you said, get these people their money, get them their bread, because it's like, and as you see, it's crazy how like new movie and TV revenues go up every single year, right? Like movie production goes up every single year. The price for each movies get up. Was blockbuster every year changes, so it's like how all the changes every single year, but I don't think salary be going up like that every single year. I might not be fully right. Maybe there is, because you can strike for no reason, but I doubt if the salary was going up every year, like we raised the movie, there would be a strike. So as one of the things to that, and I'm Nigerian, coming from, I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but back home, like strikes were like normal thing, are like a normal thing. Like one of the reasons why I didn't want to go to college back in Nigeria was because like if you go to like most like big university, like in like honestly like private university, you're like a 4-year program, like a whole year could be gone just on strikes. Like your school is on strike, so people can't come to school, so a whole year of your college is just gone, just wasted. Like you have for like fall semester, spring strike. No spring semester, like come on, like, and like some of these were like, I don't know, students feel like, oh my god, like time is going, but a lot of these issues were like, like teachers not getting paid money for months, but supposed to teach classes and stuff like that, and they were like, we can't do this, we have to strike. So I've seen like strikes, go up for reasons like that, like nurses in UCH like about 7 years ago, like went on this huge strike, I think something like 9 years ago, because they were not getting like a lot of money going through, and nurses, that's one time they were like directly on the patient. Some of them were getting like affected by the patients. Some of them were like not like have their families too and children, and they can take care of their own family because spend all the time on patients in the hospital, but they weren't getting the right kind of accommodation. They were never getting like health insurance, and you're working in a health hospital. So I know that there's some kind of scenarios where like it has to get to that point and people have to strike. And not saying strikes solve everything, but then there's some things where it's just like we've said it, we've tried to go through the right routes, we've spoken up to our reps and nothing's happening, and it's like has to go through. So I think it does make people like listen, and I mean we can still argue today on like whether they're right, whether they're wrong, but for the fact that for it to get to this point, there's a strike, somebody needs to listen. People need to pay more attention to it, and people who are in power and authority need to help make these decisions, because like if like you're like a CEO of this company and like even if just to get people more money to cut like 2 or 3% from your $1 million or $1 billion check, like I feel like in the long run it's definitely worth it. Because I'm not saying you shouldn't make money if you didn't do your work, shit. But you're thinking more not just you out of the box, out of the circle of you, and thinking about these people and their families and their hopes and the future of your company and actually being in that culture. Like it's a sacrifice.
I'm not gonna lie, bro, but like, what kind of work is bro doing to make $1 billion, bro? Like, what kind of like work is bro doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, versus like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I just didn't understand that. Like, I don't know, man. Like $1 billion, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like $1 billion. Like, what kind of work are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Compared to like other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of work are you doing to make $1 billion? Like I don't think people understand how much $1 billion is.
Yeah.
All right, that's so $1 million is a lot, right?
That's
how many billions?
100
that's
times.
That's 100 millions.
100 millions.
That's not even 100. Is that 100 million?
Yeah.
I think it's
Or a little
is
bit
it
more.
is it 100 millions?
It's 100.
Or is it a millions?
Is it a
Wait?
No, is it 100 millions or 1,000 millions?
No.
I think it's 1,000 millions.
Because 100 millions is
100
million.
million. 100 million.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Is
I
it
think we're
1,000?
just tired. I think it's been a long
We're
day. I think it's
engineers.
like, yeah, 100 million is 100 million. 1,000 millions is a
So
billion.
you need that 10 times. That's 1,000 millions,
1,000 millions.
bruh. Like, what kind of immaculate work is someone doing?
That's why when they say billionaire, like a billion thing is very crazy.
Wait, but yeah. Wait, who? Like, is that the CEOs aren't making that much, right?
Depending on which company, because CEOs could be millionaires, right? When a company big, but depending on how big your company is, CEOs could definitely.
You talking about in the
Billionaires.
in the entertainment industry, or
They probably.
that might be? I know. I think they're netting somewhere 250 mil a year or something. But I think to kind of get to your question, as far as what type of work are you doing as a CEO that merits you making 250 mil?
Yeah, versus everyone.
While the people involved in the day-to-day activities of making the commodity you're selling, I think that probably speaks to a larger cultural notion, right? That the leader, quote unquote, the leader, right, inherently is worth more, so they should get more of the bread in the first place.
Yeah, and there's also
Not to say it's right, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
I think it's just a cultural notion that we have right now.
Mhm.
But how much more though? I mean,
But think about it your way. Look, for example, like you, let's say, like we from this podcast, right? We started a biotech company from the ground up, right? 3 of us are the first employees. We're doing maybe cell work and microfabrication, making small chips, right? I'm doing the work in the lab with the chips. You are like designing. You're designing and printing the 3D parts. My mic is beta testing all 3D parts and kind of like managing them together and then adding electronics to it to get sold. 3 of us are working in the company, just 3 of us pushing it from the ground up. We get maybe 5 or 6 employees, in the span of a year, right? We start making maybe 3,000 on it, right? The span of 4 to 5 years, we're working on this every single day. We don't take a vacation for 3 years, right? We're trying to make the company blow up, kind of go crazy. In 3 to 4 years, now our company is on stock market, we're in stocks, right? We're earning $300,000-$400,000 in profit, per year. Right now, we're bringing in base salary for each of us was close to we're not millionaires, right? We're low-key earning let's say about 600,000-700,000 a year just on base profit. That's minus actual stocks, minus anything you think we're doing, right? And then now, as after 5 years, our company was being in the brooks. And 5 years, our company is big, right? We're doing crazy stuff. Thermo Fisher's calling us, trying to buy us out. We're that crazy, right? And now we hire somebody into the company, starting level. They're an undergrad who just finished 4-year university. They have great experience. They did one internship in the summer for 2 months somewhere, and they want to come in and they want to earn base salary. What are you going to pay them as salary per hour? Are they going to get something big? Are they going to earn what people normally earn around that salary time?
Probably enough that they could live comfortably, right? So it's
Right.
what
does live comfortably mean?
I don't know. It depends on the area. If we live in New York, right, what's the cost of living? I feel like compared to all right, what the market price is versus all right, what's the cost of living? But I mean, I think it's okay. Well, if you're the owner, right? Okay.
With the owner, so we're not doing all the main work they're doing. We might do one
owner,
or 2 or 3.
You have a return on investment. I feel like
of course
you should definitely make as much as the return on investment. I'm not saying you should get paid as much as
but to earn 200,000 or 300,000 a month, what that means we're getting paid maybe 160 or $30 an hour, close to that, $280 an hour, right? How much an hour would you? And you know these other girls that come in. Well, I hired 10 of them. Now I know each of them are going to work at least 40 hours a week, right? They're going to, because they're hired, right? They're going to put in their main time. They're going to put their stuff in, and we could easily give them, some stuff a year. But how much would you pay them like per month, right? That time goes through. So the reason why I asked that was because I just think that there's a huge like spread between like even with CEO amount, but it's like, yes, it might not be as much work. It's definitely not going to be as much work as the people who are getting paid as the initial part. They're going to work a lot more, but there's almost no scenario where they're going to earn like half or like a closer amount to what a CEO or owner of a company would earn.
Kind of depends though, right? Because them early years is the trenches. Right? So that, like you said, like, so you're doing a lot of work. But if you project your company 10, 15 years down the line, and you're not really in the trenches no more, you're more and more in the administrative stuff.
So you feel like you're open more to do that now because you're not at that level, like
right?
Like, okay.
So, but now you've hired people to do that work, which is essential for you even maintaining a business in the first place.
Right.
At that point, I don't know if whatever you're getting paid should be outpacing your workers by that much. I'm not saying maybe you don't earn more, right? Of course, you were there from the ground up. You deserve some type of financial compensation for that. I just don't know. Again, I don't know if you should be gapping your workers.
That's what I'm saying.
By that,
for you personally,
to keep it fair, if it's like, all right, you're making some return on investment on the company, I think your workers should get some of that too. Yeah. Either like, I don't even talk about like bonuses. I mean like, all right, if you work here, right,
your salaries going
right,
up.
you like, I don't know if it's like what is it called, like a workers co-op?
Oh sure,
those are complicated.
Those
are complicated, especially here. But like, bro, I feel like, again, I think it's only fair. It's like, all right, well, these guys keeping the company running, right? We make some profits. All right, should get some of the bread too, right? I wouldn't mind that. Even if I wouldn't mind that personally.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's it's just kind of the ratio of the returns is so ridiculous, and then this. Also, you gotta remember, I think it's the Writers Guild of America is also striking, right. And if you go listen and go read, definitely go do your own research on this, right? Go get your own information. We're not authoritative figures on this, but the Writers Guild. I mean, it's kind of messed up, man, because streaming has changed the way that we consume content.
Absolutely.
So. And you know how writers used to get paid, what's it called, residuals?
Yeah.
Every time their show came back on cable or came on the networks.
Yeah.
But now if you're streaming, your show's not necessarily guaranteed to be on the streaming platform.
Exactly.
Right.
And it can get taken off tomorrow.
It can get taken off tomorrow, right? So and writers kind of got it rough, right? They live from one show to the next.
Yeah.
And so they're asking, okay, if the way that our work is being presented to consumers is changing, then that means
the way we should getting paid should be changing.
Right, the way we should be paid should be changing also. But it seems as if the network are really begrudging against that.
You know what I heard? Well, it's not justifying why, but streaming is actually not that lucrative. That's what I've been hearing. Like I've been hearing like. I've been hearing like Netflix was trying to get out for like, again, I don't have any sources for this, but I heard Netflix was trying to get out for like years. And it's funny because like people like Hulu, HBO decided to get in for some reason. Interesting. Just to compete with Netflix.
Okay.
When it was like Netflix was trying to find a way out for like years, but I think that's why they started their own studio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, for series and things like
for
that?
series.
To make their own.
Okay.
Because streaming is just not that lucrative.
I feel like it is. I mean, there's two sides to it, right? Like you're right. I feel like streaming is not that lucrative as like the direct things, right? You definitely open up more to more people. Yeah, open up more to more markets, more countries, more people that you can have access to. But for example, like I remember last time I released a song, and like in the first week, the song had like 100 plays. Right? The first week of the first month, I did like 100 plays, right? And then with 100 plays, maybe like just through streaming platform like iTunes, like you get like maybe $2 or something, right? Or like it's not like not up to $5 or $10, right? But if I say I sold 100 CDs, which maybe took me like a little bit to make, and let's say like with the production we made 100 CDs. Let's say I made production from each CD maybe like it'd be like 50 cents, like $1 for each CD, like per production, like making. And let's say I sold each CD for like $2, even just $2, and I bought it for $1, right? And this each of the 100, unless I sold, like, even if I sold half of them, I'm making, right? I'm making bread, right? With half of them, I'm making like $100 in profit alone, right? Compared to playing 100 plays on like a streaming platform, right? So just in the base price alone of that, that's why like a lot of times, even as artists now, we're not you make honestly like big like Drake and like Doja Cat, you know, like Lecrae, you know, and Minio, like you're making like a lot of money through streams and all that. But even with them, like you're making money on tour. The tour days, they're making money with like merch. Yeah. Making money with like live shows and private performances, and making money with like endorsement deals, appearances. As you said, it's not from this streaming. Like you make some money from the streaming, but it's like not unless you're like the millions, you know. So it's always kind of like a variation of both sides of that.
Yeah, I think a majority of tech companies are almost always in the red. Like Uber, Uber's in the red. I think Google stays afloat through the selling ads.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like DoorDash too, bro.
Yeah, DoorDash. So the tech companies, I mean, especially when we consider so many of these services are quote unquote free.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to pay to register an account with Google or with right because like, we could talk about this on another podcast if you guys want to, but right, your habits and your tendencies are the product. Right, that's what they're picking up data on, so they can sell to third-party vendors and
selling your identity,
ads,
all the I
forget how much it costs. Like, it's like $10 per person or something like that.
I don't know the number.
So like your internet persona is like worth $10, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's worth a lot more though. I don't know. That's just me.
Weak, but I still back to it. It's one of those things where it's like I really do. I really do feel like people who are working for you and working with you, you know, should get like a lot more, you know, equity in what you're really doing. Yeah. I really feel like these strikes would not have happened if it wasn't that serious. I got to the point that it did. Yeah. That's why I've been here for a lot of years. So this should be taken seriously. I feel more push make made aware of this, and if the authorities are involved of this, directly make these changes, these will stop. They make it seem as if you're striking. We don't know what to have. We don't know what to do. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know how to stop this strike.
Especially with inflation, man, bro. Yeah. Bro, I love Raisin Bran Crunch. That box is $6 right now, bro. That's crazy. It's crazy. But
I think last thing I probably want to say about the Writers Guild stuff, and again, this could be a topic for another one as far as AI and machine learning and stuff. I'm aware that one of the primary complaints that the WGA had against the big media companies was the big media companies wanted to reserve the right to use the work that the writers had wrote as data for machine learning algorithms, the generative AI, right? So they wanted to use that data that the writers have written to feed their algorithms to write quote unquote new content without compensating the writers.
That's actually...
They're basically building like a database to make the writers obsolete.
Trying to, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's what it seems like.
That's what it's trying, right? I mean, as of right now, thank God, it's not the algorithm's not that good. But you never know. Someday may get it's. As a matter of fact, just getting back to the actors, they wanted to hire. You know how. When you're trying to get into Hollywood, apparently, you got to get your small roles, right? So you're a side character. What are they called? The people on the side? Backgrounds. Yeah, background folks. Kind of to give the scene like kind of a live feel.
Yeah.
Apparently the companies wanted to have the right to have a background person come on for a day, right? Then scan their face.
Bro.
And then just reuse the digital and just kind of
CGI it, the
CGI
There's some sick stuff going on.
the whole back, instead of hiring real people for backgrounds, like, oh, we've scanned
a real person.
however many
Just-
people exactly, and so we and not compensate them.
Yo.
I mean, first off, I don't like being scanned. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm on camera right now, and the homies know I really don't be doing this, so I'm already kind of nervous with this. But
Yeah.
I can't imagine, having your likeness
Bro.
scanned so you can be used. That's scary. Man.
It
That's
is very
weird.
scary.
I could talk about, bro. I've seen some stuff, bro. But like,
What you talking about?
with scanning,
I've
like,
seen some
Oh.
stuff.
like now, like, yo, if you go to just go to the club, like in Glenwood, Raleigh, they scan your face, bro.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
it's crazy.
Yeah, bro. I was coming in on my cruise ship, and normally it's not. I'm international. The first time I had to call my office and get like my I-20 like signed again, and then sent back to me on my phone to show them. So I had my I-20, I had my I-94 form, I had my passport, and I had my driver's license. Not just your driver's license, but I had all of those just in case. These guys scanned my face at the port, like at the customs port. Just scanned my face, and we're like, "Oh, you're good to go." They didn't scan a single document. We left and came in the country. Yes, bro. Just everybody stood in front of this new machine. This was all in Miami. It's crazy. When you just fly, no one scans your passport. They don't scan your ticket. Nothing. They just scan your face, and they pulled up my name. When I bought my ticket, all the information. And they're like, "Oh, you can go."
Wow.
At customs, just my face.
Yeah, Jesus
Wow.
Christ.
That was insane, and that was last year,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah, that's kind of
when is too far? We're definitely gonna go into that another.
Look.
I'm gonna say that for another.
absolute last thing for me is we're critical of technology. We're scientists and engineers. We're very much critical of technology. We suggest you be too. Right. I really think machine learning, all that stuff is really interesting and fascinating, but I'd be wary of it. And the only reason I'm about to say this is because I see this word thrown around a lot, and I think it's misused. So often people use the word Luddite, right? Oh, I'm a Luddite. And people usually think that means you're anti-technology, or, you don't want technology to progress, whatever, right? So if I go, oh, I don't like machine learning, it's like, oh, you're a Luddite. You're in the way of progress type stuff. But I suggest you all do some research on what the Luddite movement really was, right? To be concise, and I'm not an expert by any means, right? But if I can remember correctly, it's something to do with, it was a certain group of workers in textile mills, and their bosses obtained a new piece of technology, and they were using that technology to exploit the workers out of their wages and pretty much just dog them out, right? And so these people took direct action and smashed those specific machines that the bosses were using to exploit them, to make a like a political statement. So to be a Luddite doesn't mean to be your anti-technology. It's to be against a technology that's being weaponized against you.
It makes sense because people are being like real greedy with AI, bro. So,
That's it.
just like, real stuff.
You know,
real
and
nasty,
if you're interested,
salivating,
mouth
salivating, it's like, oh man, I can't
Watering,
wait to put these
my
workers
God.
on the street.
our story is AI powered.
man.
Shut
Yeah,
up,
man.
Shut up,
It's crazy.
shut up.
But I think, let us know what you guys think about AI
exactly.
and machine learning.
Machine learning, absolutely.
Looking forward to.
But yeah, thank you for tuning to episode 6 of Normal Extra Smart Africans. We had a really good conversation.
You already know.
Remember, hit us up on our email, nesapodcast@gmail.com.
TikTok.
Any questions you have, either me, Mike, or Ore will answer it. And follow our socials. We're really active on socials right now, so check us out, yo.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See you next week.